Hey guys, Tills20 here, and welcome back to another episode of Springwood. Today I'm going to be not really fleshing out the residential area that I have been in the previous episode. I'm actually going to be working on a bit more of a commercial area. But before I get into that, I just want to let you know that I've now released a mod list and it's sitting on Steam Workshop. So if you're curious of the sort of assets and mods that I'm using, you can go and head over there, links in the description below. Also, I will be doing my very first live stream on Thursday, so if you're interested in coming and checking that out and joining me, that'd be really great. I will be actually naming a lot of the areas in Springwood. They're nameless at the moment, so if you come along, you can join in, and maybe you'll have a suburb or a building named after you, or a river. So definitely come along for that. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. In the actual episode today, I'm going to be working on this area down here. Again, mostly commercial, but like a little bit of a slice of residential. So there's the blue, that's the commercial part, and that green little bit is the residential. And just a couple of other little spots would be mostly parks and just kind of like other little bits and pieces. It turned out really great, so I'm like pretty keen to show you what I actually got up to. But the biggest focus I feel for this episode is I finally downloaded the Asphalt mod, which is by Ronix. And I mean, you're probably familiar with his work. He's done all the decals. He basically made that possible. He's, made lots of just heaps and heaps of different decals. So definitely go and check him out on the Steam Workshop. He's awesome. But basically, if you're not familiar with asphalt mods, it basically means that you can plop down ploppable asphalt and kind of give a lot of the grey concrete textures a bit more, makes it look a bit nicer. So I was using that for the backlots, I guess the alleys of this area, and it's a bit of a theme that I'm going to kind of use throughout Springwood. And if you're not familiar with my work, it's mostly inspired by LA, and LA has a lot of these kind of backlots, mostly creeping behind the commercial areas of LA, but also kind of in the residential areas. So I will be using that quite a lot, and it worked out really well. And you can actually just copy and paste. So I made a couple of backlots, and then with all the different decals and stuff that go with it, and then just copied that lot and just pasted it everywhere that it fit, which is so easy. It's just so awesome. So I did that. I also downloaded recently the unlimited prop tool. I think I was a bit hesitant to get it, but I got it just because I figured eventually I'm going to hit the prop limit, and I'm not really sure what happens when I hit that, so I'm kind of a little bit worried. So I got that just to kind of give myself a bit of insurance, just to make sure that props don't start deleting as I'm just plopping them down. So if you do know what happens with that when you hit that limit, let me know in the comments below, because I am kind of curious. So yeah, this area is going to be mostly commercial, very low down, but at the same time it is getting a little bit closer to the downtown area of Springwood. So I do plop a couple of taller buildings, but nothing skyscrapery. I also kind of I know this area was meant to be a bit more wealthy than the other areas of Springwood, but it kind of took on a life of its own, and I feel like this commercial area is quite run down and old, and the suburbs around it are kind of a bit more middle class, so it didn't really turn out to be upper class, although I did try to shape a couple, and you saw me painting it down before, using some props just to kind of make some cafes and cobblestoned floor areas, because I feel like that's quite wealthy. No, it's not even quite wealthy. It's just, I feel like that's nice. It's well looked after, whereas these sort of areas are kind of just housing quite run down old commercial buildings. And again, I'm basing this off LA. LA has a lot of these sort of low commercial areas, and they do look quite run down, I guess, from bird's eye view, looking at street view and all that. I'm not sure if they really are that like that. If you live there, let me know. But I am kind of basing off that, and this area in particular has this train that kind of shoots through the middle of this main road, and so I was kind of going with that with my tram line. I mentioned earlier in my other episodes where the tram line kind of is kind of just pops around every now and again. It doesn't kind of filter through the entire city. Quite a useless service, but it does kind of filter through this area here, making its way back down to downtown, where I think it's going to be mostly in the city. But as you can see here, I'm kind of playing with all the different assets I have sitting in my asset collection, trying to find every low building that's got a particular style. And the style I'm looking for is, like skinny and long. It sounds really wrong, but yeah, I'm kind of like trying to find those sort of style buildings. It took me ages to find them, and it's kind of, I'm really happy that I've now basically found every building that matches that style in my asset collection, because now I can just copy and paste whenever I have to do a commercial area. So, I mean, I know that I'm going to totally redesign a couple of different areas because, just because it's like my style has changed quite a lot, 6 months ago when I've built it. And I've really struggled building that low commercial area. Whereas now, like, I've made this one, I'm really happy with it, and I can just copy it and copy and paste it, and it's so easy. It's gonna make it so much easier. So I'm really looking forward just to, creating all these neighborhoods really, really easily. Really easily. I'm not sure how great English that is. Another thing about this area is, I'm starting to kind of get in the mind frame of, this is going to be a really big project. Well, it is a big project, and I don't think it's feasible to detail everything to the length that I've been detailing, which is totally fine. Like, I think I'm going to run out of patience eventually, and I'm going to be over detailing, yet another commercial area or residential area. And, I think that's understandable. Like, I like to kind of keep myself active and, inspired. And I don't really, a lot of people have been asking to do the airport. Not feeling like doing the airport at the moment. So I don't want to put myself into that situation if I'm not going to enjoy doing it or don't feel inspired. So I kind of feel like, and also I don't think my computer's going to handle it. I think if I detail everything the way I'm detailing at the moment, I think it's going to just totally tank. So this is kind of me starting off like what's going to be like mostly detailed, and then areas that just aren't. So later on, I placed down a mall, and I just kind of placed down very simple decals, and then that's it. Because that's not a focus for that area. It's the focus for this area are a couple of little bits and pieces. You'll see eventually, like, I detail this Pizza Hut, which I think turns out really great. But I just can't detail everything to the level that I want. And I don't think that I probably should, just because I don't think it's feasible. This series does have a time frame, and I do kind of need to, get a wriggle on. Otherwise, I am going to fall behind, and you guys be watching, episode 212, because I'm just still going. So I am keen to, get this show on the road, and maybe just make some neighborhoods that aren't quite as detailed, but I just won't, they'll just sit in the background, and they'll just serve their purpose like that. Whereas this area just here that I'm kind of detailing will probably be a focus point for a lot of cinematics or, showcase or whatever. And to talk about what I'm doing right here, I am using the Propable Asphalt mod to kind of place down this car park that was a little bit bare looking. And you're probably looking and they're going what the hell are you doing? You've got these patches, it looks shit. Well, yeah, it does, but this kind of area isn't that crash hot. So I do kind of like these patches. They do give a bit more texture to this car park that I probably wouldn't have been able to achieve just with the ploppable asphalt mod and with the decals. So, I mean, like, that's not perfect, but I do kind of use them to their advantage, I guess, because I think, like, they do have a bit of a cool element, just like a bit of a different texture coming through the pavement. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't my intention for them to look like that. When they started doing this, because the ground's uneven and you really need a flat surface to paint down these asphalts. But I just kind of left it, and I think it looks kind of cool. Like it doesn't bother me. I think it works. And it also kind of sits on, like, some of the asphalt sits on top and makes it look like it's, I don't know, like, not evenly placed down. Like, again, I kind of like it. I think it works. It makes it look a bit more tiled, and, you know, I have decals to make things look tiled, so it just works for me. Also, if this is your first time checking out my channel, I guess I am kind of being quite ambitious with this project. I mean, my city's already a lot larger than I kind of anticipated, and it's only, I guess, a fraction of the size that I want it. So, I mean, it's going to be a really big project. So, if you're kind of curious about how each episode looks, I just kind of started, and I mean, I guess if you've been watching for a while, that intro is a little bit different with the colors sort of showing where I'm going to be building every, you know, just in this episode. I actually really like doing that, showing you where I'm going to be building in the episode and talking about it, because as you can see, I've in this time lapse, I've skipped heaps of stuff that you're probably, you know, wondering where the rest of the commercial area that I've been building. I'm not going to show you everything in the time lapse. It's not really the point of my series. In this series, the point of it is to kind of like have an idea, and I think everybody knows my idea now, and to build on it each week and to make a lot of progress each week, because I do play this quite a lot. And, like, I don't want to just make, I mean, otherwise every episode's going to be very similar, you know, like, oh, yet again, another commercial area, oh, another high school. Like, I only want to be showcasing bits that are a little bit different to other episodes, or, you know, interesting parts. As you can probably tell, like, you know, I only use, like, my titles are always like 3 elements. I think today is alleys, church, and commercial or something like that. I haven't actually chosen it yet, but, like, it's going to be something like that, because they're the showcases. That's a showcase of this episode. So that I will be sort of highlighting an area where I'll be working on. You're not going to see everything that I plop down. That's kind of not the point. And yeah, I mean, that's something you can kind of just take away from the episode. So every episode I will be actually building quite a lot, making a lot of progress. I don't think I'll ever really upload an episode that doesn't have much, like, I don't do much progress. It's just too much of a project, and the aim of this series is to make a lot of progress in each episode and to chip away at it, and hopefully in a year's time we have, like, some kick-ass city and it's huge and kind of feels like LA, but probably feels a bit like other cities. Being an Australian, like, I'm butchering, like, if you're from America, or if you're, like, from LA and you're going, where's this, where's that? Well, yeah, like, it's not an American city, like I've spoken about before. It's just inspired. I'm just building, like, I'm going to miss elements of a Los Angeles city. Again, this asphalt mod is just really awesome. I was really reluctant at first, not because I didn't know it was going to be, like, I knew it was going to be an awesome mod, but I was reluctant because I don't want to download heaps of mods. I kind of want to run my game, like, closest to vanilla as possible, even though I am running heaps of mods. Like, I am only running a fraction to what a lot of other people are kind of running. So I was kind of hesitant to get it. I got it, and it's added a lot to my city already. I'm kind of, like, questioning whether I go back and detail every other sort of back alleyway or, you know, car park that I've kind of just done in a bad way because I haven't had this mod. But I don't know. Well, I'll think about that later. So this is, again, this area is a focus point. I am really happy with how it turned out, and I did want it to be kind of a bit old and, you know, needed some fixing up. So I mean, a lot of the pavement's kind of cracked and coming through. This is another back alley. So the asphalt mod doesn't kind of work on uneven surfaces. So I kind of just figured out a different way of, just playing with the different levels and, just kind of making it work in that sort of a way. These sort of back lots is going to be, again, I've just spoke about this, but it is going to be a bit of a focus of this, not just this area, but this whole city. So it's kind of cool, making these sort of areas and then plopping down all these different cars. It's really, really, I really enjoyed doing it. That actually leads me to my next point. Wasn't meant to be talking about. I just wanted to say, a huge thanks to Archie Cuttingham. He's an asset creator, and he creates these awesome cars. Because this is a 1987 build, I can't just have vanilla cars driving around. They don't look right. And yeah, so all my cars are basically from him. And when I first downloaded all of his cars that he's making, loved them. They looked so awesome. Though the only drama I had was they didn't, I couldn't really plop them down. They weren't props. They were only cars driving around. So a lot of my parking lots looked really bare. And he just released them all as props, and it's so awesome. So, I mean, a big part of the reason why I've started doing this area is because I can now actually plop down all these different cars and fill up these backlots, which I think adds a lot of color and a lot of vibrance to this area. So I just want to say, mate, thanks a bunch. It's made a huge difference, and yeah, I'm really excited to actually build these sort of areas. Another person I want to give a shout out to is Pdelmo, and man, another fellow Australian. It's great to see so many Australians on the Steam network at Blaine City Skylines. But he's released probably about 50 different trees or foliage, and I think it's I've already had a lot of trees in my asset list, but the difference between his and a lot of others is that he's been really particular about saving space and looking at triangles, so the weights of the asset in the game, and a lot of them are just beautifully textured, and they take up barely any room on your asset collection. So definitely check him out as well. 2 links I'm going to have there's going to be many links in the description, but I reckon you should go and check out those 2 modders and asset creators. They've definitely helping my game out so much. So thank you again to all the asset creators and modders. You guys are champs, and I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you have the patience to do it. And yeah, if you're watching this, thanks a bunch. We're starting to get to the end of the time lapse, and I haven't started making it yet, but eventually I make a church, and I spoke about this in a couple of episodes ago, that this area of Springwood I want to be quite religious. I want lots of different churches and lots of different religious groups, but I kind of on my mission to make Springwood really unique and interesting, and to have culture and feeling and just something going on. I kind of want Springwood to have its own sort of religious group. So I make this church, and I've tried to mold a couple of different churches into it so that it kind of has its own feel to it. And basically what I'm asking is, in the comments below, if you're interested, make up a religion. Let's make a religion and plop it down in Springwood, and they can have a couple of different churches around, and I don't know, we can even make some real crazy big building This one that I've made is like kind of small, so it might just be a small branch of it. But if you've got some like creative ideas, you know, you're thinking maybe these guys could worship your YouTube channel, or, you know, maybe even we create some extra characters out in the desert, or like a UFO. Like, let's think like GTA, let's think like cults. And I know I'm like splicing together a Latter-day Saints church here and probably a Catholic church. So apologies, not trying to cause any offense, but I do want some characters in the city, and I think a religious group would be a great character. So any ideas, post below. I'm really curious to see what you guys come up with. But that's it for me, guys. I'm going to tune out for this time lapse, and I'll see you guys at the very end. Welcome back, guys, and thanks for sticking around. Really happy with this build, really happy with what I've made. A couple of different bits and pieces that I've added that weren't in the time lapse, like, you know, there's a lot of different shops, quite a lot of different alleys, but I've also got this park that sits between this commercial area and like that wealthier commercial area we built a couple of episodes ago, and this mall that's kind of just a mall, nothing really too special. But that's it, guys. Your job, think of a religion, make it up, give it a name. I love that. Thank you very much. Go and follow me on Twitter if you want some more rambles, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.